in here.
And the bass keeps running, running, and 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 running, running, and
in this context, there's no disrespect, so when I bust my rhyme, you break your necks. We got 5 minutes for us to disconnect from all intellect and let the rhythm affect. To lose our inhibition, follow your intuition, free your inner soul and break away from tradition. Cause when we be out, girl, it's pulling me out. You wouldn't believe how we wow shit out. We burn it till it's burned out, turn it till it's turned out. Act up from northwest, east side. Everybody, everybody, let's get into it. Get stupid, get it started, get it started, get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Yeah. Lose control of body and soul. Don't move too fast, people just take it slow. Don't get ahead, just jump into it. Y'all hear about it? The P's will do it. Get started, get stupid. Don't worry about it, people will walk you through it step by step like an infant new kid. Inch by inch with a new solution. Transmit hits with no delusion. The feeling's irresistible and that's how we move it. Yo, everybody, everybody, let's get into it. Get stupid, get it started, get it started, get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
Running, running, and running, running.
Come on, y'all. Let's get it. Let's get it. And I like it. Let's get it. And I like it. Let's get it.
The deal, applicator will bring the bug-dot thrills. Lose your mind, this is the time. You can't stand still, twist and bang your spine. Bob your head like me, Apple D. Up inside your club or in your Bentley. Get messy, loud and sick. Your mind fast, mama on another head trip. So come them now, do not correct it. Let's get ignorant, let's get hectic.
Everybody, everybody, let's get into it. Get stupid, get it started, get it started, get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
All right, good evening, traders. Briguy here on DayTradingRadio.com. It's Thursday, January 17th, 2013. And we see the ES had a nice little run up on the day, and then a nice little fade into the close, off the highs by about, about $4 or so, closing at $14.76.50. Good evening to all the members out there. Gonna see if we can put some background tunes on. I know we're used to hearing the music at the end of the show, and I don't want to kind of give up on that kind of rhythm, but at the same time, maybe we can take a look at some of the bigger news items of the day and get ourselves lined up for the next day. See now, Jordan, nobody gave that a thought until you start putting it out there. So I don't know what that says about other people, but then again, I don't know what it says about you. Anyway, I had a nice little conversation with Jordan earlier today. He's a nice guy, so if you don't know him, get to know him, as Jason, not Jason, Lovitz, what was his name? Anyway, let's take a look at some of the market movers we have today. And we can close down our Thinkorswim chat room. We don't need that open any longer. But let's see what the indexes were doing. So we started hitting some 52-week highs on quite a few things today. The Dow Jones finished up 84 points and change at 13,596.02. Oil finished up another $1 at 95.74. We see gold that was down on that jobs report this morning. Made a nice rally after that, and actually finished up on the day at 16.88 even. And I say on the day, I'm actually, since it's futures, we're talking about this trading session, and some of these are trading at different hours. So if you happen to know that it's still open for trading, forgive me for misspeaking that. Copper up another half a cent today at $3.66, and that looks like it's still trading. The NQs are up 15.50 at 27.41 and 50 cents. Silver up 20 cents at 31.74 half. The TFs are up $8.50 at 887.80, and currently the Dow futures are trading at a plus 108. So I don't know if that's a close, probably a close on the day, and we'll see when that reopens how it might get reset. Some of the well-named, well, I should mention the other indices. So that the NASDAQ, of course, finished up 18 points at 31.36, and the SPX, the cash market, traded up $8.31 at 1480.94. The VIX still remaining at a pretty quiet low. It was up a hair today, 15 cents. It's still considered a 1.25 or so, 1.125 percentage-wise, but $13.57 for VIX is really not a whole lot compared to what it's been in recent times. If you got your TVs on and you're watching that in the background, the Intel CFO is on CNBC. I don't know if I can get that going fast enough for us to listen in on it. I'll see what I can do for us. But I just saw that crawling. And I do have the Benzinga running, but I don't hear him saying anything, so hopefully that's the right screen for that. Let's see what we can do for CNBC. Pause that for a sec. Let's see, we had Google down 0.5% today, still at over 700 at 711.32. Apple down 0.67% to 502.68. A couple stocks with their earnings after the market. Of course, Intel we talked about with that early earnings release report, and finishing up on the day with that report at plus 57 cents. And as far as after hours goes, looks like it's coming back down. And here's a little bit of a spike, down about 44 cents from the close, which would get it a little bit closer to the flat from the open. And actually, right, this green line that's on the screen is would be yesterday's high. And my CNBC is spooling here and not really bringing anything up. So I've got some of my contact info on the screen. If you guys want to send in any questions, then we'll be happy to do our best to answer them. You could send them in by text or email, or you can post a chat in the room, send me a private message. If you tell me which direction to look in the sky, you can send smoke signals. The futures market just opened up again on the ES, 4:30 Eastern Time. And trading a little bit more, now up about 50 cents from where it had paused. Learjet, use your other hand. see if I can restart this video feed here. By the time I do that, I'm sure the interview will be over. Oh, of course, my plug-in flash is crashing. What else is new? Love Chrome. But I think
Mojo going back in a moment.
Yeah, of course. Great timing. Back in a moment. And I can't seem to lower the volume. I can't seem to hit the pause button.
When the world moves.
Oh, that was a great idea. Anyway, we'll put the music back on in the background. You guys let me know if that's too quiet for you to hear it barely. I just don't want it to be over. You're getting stanky there, Learjet. Let's see if we can take a look at some of the other earnings reports coming out after market from some of the bigger players here. Trying to get back to the 4 o'clock time. Here's Capital One, of course, we mentioned was at $1.41 earnings versus $1.60, and their Q4 sales are coming in at $5.6 billion versus $5.88 billion. That's Capital One Finance. We see them on the screen there, that top window, and they look like they're trading down about $2.60 or so. $2.40 or so. We had Kihu after hours. Jeffrey's maintaining a buy on Kihu. That's Quebec Hotel. Yeah, I'm not saying that right. One of these days I'll get that down. QIHU. Quebec India Hotel U. Uniform. Thank you, Mr. Land. AXP, American Express, confirming a fourth quarter adjusted EPS of $1.09. We see American Express bouncing around there after hours. Currently trading down about 34 cents. A news report near the close from Treasury Secretary Geithner saying the U.S. can't count on the world having unlimited confidence in the U.S. political system. Well, thank you very much, Geithner. Thank you for stating the obvious and letting the rest of the world know that we know it. See some other after-hours news. Viacom, VIA, today announcing that its board of directors has declared a quarterly cash dividend of 27.5 cents a share to both its Class A and Class B common stock, payable on April 1st for stockholders on record as of March 15th, 2013. Rainmaker Systems names Mallory Burak their CFO. That's RMKR. DDR announces $1.2 billion in refinancing of unsecured revolving credit. DDR, that's Delta Delta Romeo. That one I knew. Mr. Land, of course, announced earlier about E-Trade naming a new CEO, Paul.
INTC Intel shares continue to fall back now, hitting $22, down 68 cents or down 3%.
Okay, E-Trade naming Paul Idzik as a CEO. That's ETFC, Echo Tango Foxtrot Charlie. I'm going to start practicing these guys, and maybe I'll start naming them as fast as Mr. Land does it. Thanks for the feedback, guys. Appreciate it. Joel, good to hear from you. Costamare That's Charlie. Customer Charlie Michael Romeo Echo declaring a 27-cent dividend. That sounds like a popular number. And that's for the quarter ending December 31st, 2012. Capital One Finance, we mentioned them before. They see average quarterly sales for 2013 about $5.6 billion. We mentioned about them missing the estimate by about 20 cents. And now trading down about $2.80 thereabouts. Intel moving down further now. That red line on my screen is the low of yesterday. So it traded down to yesterday's low, currently down about 70 cents from the close. Of course, the close is a little inflated, so you might even want to adjust this for what it was during the announcement. And from that standpoint, well, I guess we really only traded about 30 cents off of that number at the close. So this black number on the screen is the 200 period moving average. I don't know how easily you could see that at home. Let's see if there's any other major news other than what Mr. Land has been giving us. Tiffany, of course, extending their buyback. I think that was mentioned. Xilinx, that's X-Ray Lima, Neutral X-Ray. I know neutral's not the right word. November. Anyway, their report of 38 cents versus 37 cents. Revenue of $509.77 million. They're seeing Q4 sales up between 2 and 6% quarter over quarter. Let's see if we can open up this report here. I think we mentioned this yesterday about CBS. CBS shares reached a new all-time high on Thursday. The company said on Wednesday that it's converting its Outdoors American division to a real estate investment trust, a REIT. The company announced on Wednesday it has begun this conversion, which has provided a huge boost to its stock. So that's CBS. Maybe we can take Verizon off the screen for a second and see what CBS is trading at. Up $3 on the day. And let's see, why don't we change this? See if the daily is not too busy. Maybe just stretch it out a little bit so we can look at it. And there's that big candle from today. And according to that report, reaching new all-time highs. Pulled back off of those numbers. So we had an all-time high, looks like around $42.60 thereabout. And closing about $1 or so down from that number. So huge volume spike. So take a look at that. And we can see if... now I don't want to interrupt the futures market while it's open, but maybe we'll look at that one a little bit later and see what that chart looks like. Usually on a push like that, if you didn't get into it first thing in the morning, of course it closed down on the day, but we'll see if we had an opportunity for a short in CBS. Getting a comment in the room, and I encourage you guys, please give us some feedback in the room and any stocks you're looking at. We're getting a comment that Apple looks like it's trying to fall down below 500 after hours. Here's Apple. You zoom that out a little, and Apple closing at 502.68, trading now at 501.02. So that's Apple, of course. Alpha Papa Lima, we like that one. And Hess, let's take a look at Hess, see what that's doing. Maybe what we'll do is when we get a little closer to 5:15, when the futures close, we can start looking at these charts a little closer. Here's Hess closing at 57.30, and looks like it's trading right about that. I don't know, Airman, if there's a commentary on that. Let's play nice, boys and girls. And Sony, I have Sony on my list to look at. I know I believe we took some trades in Sony today, or some did. I did not myself, but Sony up 71 cents on the day, closing now down, looks like down a whole penny in after hours. So got a lot of volume there going into the after hours. Look at that spike here. I don't know if that was a bunch of closing prints coming in, but that's quite a big spike, and then a bunch of scattered trades there afterwards. So CBS, we got the news on that. We had some big news, of course, with Boeing earlier in the week. And Boeing, I believe, had a nice rally. Am I thinking of yesterday?
Squarespace is the best way
or maybe
to
it's
create
today.
an exceptional website.
Finishing up 92 cents.
Drag and drop your pictures.
So the report from about an hour and a half ago was that the problems continue for Boeing. Following news that the Federal Aviation granted the company's newest most... Well, that doesn't sound like an hour ago. Today is January 17th. Oh, you know what it is? It's 3 a.m. Not 3 p.m. Can I assume that? Mr. Land, do you do 24-hour news? Let me scroll through the times here. No, I don't think it's military time. Well, if they want to tell me that that's current news, then I'll believe them. How's that sound? Because I'm a team player. Alright, let's close that out. Let's see what else we had after hours. We mentioned Intel earlier. We've got HK, Halcon Resources, Stifel Nicholas initiating coverage with a hold rating. That's nice when you start coverage on a hold rating. I think I could just take any stock and tell you to hold it without actually opening the books. eBay, hold it. Zynga, hold it. Facebook, hold it. Let's see what else we got here. Granite Construction declaring a 13-cent dividend. Granite Construction, that's Golf Victor Alpha. Texas Instruments declaring a 21-cent dividend. That's TXN. 21-cent dividend on February 11th. So, get your stock in there now if you want to pick up yourself 21 cents. You have until January 31st. So let me know if you bought stock on January 31st and sold it on February 1st. Would you still get the dividend? Or is there a 21-cent adjustment in the price from day to day? Morgan Stanley, that's Michael Sierra. Their CEO, James Gorman, is going to appear on CNBC Friday morning. So be sure to bookmark your calendars and set your alarm clocks for that. CNBC Friday morning, Morgan Stanley, CEO. FIS, S&P upgrades Fidelity National Information from a BB Plus to a BBB minus. Wow. I'm going to have to take a look at the ratings card on that one. Apparently, when you go from a BB plus, a double B plus, to a triple B minus, that's a good thing. FIS. And Moody's is reaffirming the rating on Rite Aid, RAD. They raise the outlook to positive. RAD, with a positive outlook. Let's see what RAD is doing. Wow. Can you really upgrade a stock trading at $1.57? I'm afraid to even look at the volume on this thing. Let's see. The daily chart. Oh, no wonder it's being upgraded. It's crawled from a 95-cent trade at December 5, December 6, thereabouts. And now trading at $1.57 with a high of $1.60. So, thank you, Moody's. Rolling the dice on that one. Hope it's not completely overbought here. Maybe somebody ought to take a look at some covered calls on this one. And we're getting some expert opinions from some of the members in the room that we shouldn't touch our AD. It's a dog. So there you have it. I'll give you credit, but I don't want to put Sonny on the spot. Oh, I think I just did. And we're getting some requests to look at the New Zealand US dollar. And Faller, I'm going to have to put myself in your hands completely because I'm a little lost when it comes to currencies. And it's not like I don't think I can get it, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around other things right now. And to start down the road at currencies, I just feel like I'm going to do myself a disservice with my ADD. But I'll be happy to put it on the screen if you want to draw attention to it. We're looking at a daily chart here, and I can see it bouncing around. Do you call these pips or ticks? I think, right? Down 0.00437 I mean, when you get down to those fractions, that's where I get lost. I'm sorry. We're going to bring up an hour, and this is why Faller wants us to look at it. Here we go. So Faller, this candle, alright, it's still on the same trading day, so very long wick there. It looks like the wick came down a good solid, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 thousandths of a tick, of a point, or tick, point. Do you call them ticks? Pips, 4 thousandths. They just came out with the NZD CPI data, and man, Faller, I heard you talking about data from these other countries last night. And if you guys don't hear or follow the roundtable, Rainmakers Roundtable, you've got to tune in for that. And these guys are really on top of things. Their analysis of the international news is phenomenal. Wrapping their head around the Chinese CPI and CMI and all that good stuff. Being told 9 o'clock tonight, is that when China comes out with their news? 9 o'clock Eastern, so we're looking another 4 hours from that. And Fuller's mentioning that down 80 pips on one contract, 80 pips is $800. So that would be 8 pips would be $80. So 1 pip is $10. And now the next question I have for you is, are the pips measured in these thousandth increments? So from 834 to 835, actually this is showing 836 on the screen, but is 834 to 835, is that a solid pip? You're saying the last decimal, so it's not to the thousandths, this is to the 10 thousandths, the fourth decimal. So let's see, 10 hundredths, thousandths, the 10 thousandths. That's how I remembered it from algebra. And then there's like a light shadowed number even further, which is the 100 thousandths. But it sounds like you're saying between .834 and .836 is actually 20 pips. And you can trade contracts that are $1 a pip. Well, listen, guys, I didn't mean to turn this show into the Briguy Learns Currency show, but I'm happy to oblige you if that's what you want to talk about, because it does fascinate me. And especially when it comes to these currency pairs where you get to kind of use the news that are driving another country's market and trade that versus the dollar. And I know the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar, the yen dollar, those are ones I've looked at a few times. But again, still trying to wrap my head around how that works. And we're looking at an hourly chart here that it sure looks like it wants to turn over, if I'm reading the stochastics properly. And based upon what you just said, if you were short from up here and you're coming down 80 pips, and you made $800 on one contract. Is that what we're talking about? .8365 to .8360 is 5 pips. 8365 to 83. Right. So 836 to 834 is 20 pips from the way I think you're explaining it. Currencies trend more as well. Plus, you can use this to hedge your portfolio. Excellent idea. Again, another concept I have not fully followed in my trading, and that is hedging things. And maybe I shouldn't be admitting that on air, because there's some really experienced guys that have been nice enough to come on my shows and make me feel really smart. But I just have some small positions I put on to some things. I picked up some gold calls first thing this morning. If you think that might be a smart idea, I did have some encouragement from one of the traders on that was an okay idea, and it seemed to work out all right. Still holding on to it, and I'm being told that you smart, as my friend, my friend's girlfriend, now wife, used to say. You smart, Chris. If Chris is listening. Chris doesn't listen to my shows. He'd rather put CNBC on after hours. But that's alright. We'll do our thing. Test Technologies, or Tesco Technologies, that's Tango, Echo, Sierra, Sierra. They're reporting a Q3 EPS of 65 cents versus the estimate 65 cents, so that's in line. EPS were up 10% from the same quarter last year. Revenue came in at $204 million versus the estimated $186.08 million. Sales were down 10% year over year. And they're looking for the fiscal year 2013 EPS of $2.05 to $2.15. Sounds like that's in line with the estimates. That's Tango, Echo, Sierra, Sierra. Not that familiar with this company, but here you can see what they're doing after hours. Let's put that back to a minute chart. Not a lot of volume going on, but trading at, let's see, which one of these is the trade number? Yeah, doesn't look like a whole lot of volume after hours. Looks like it bounced down here to $25, so down 94 cents after hours, but with the volume, that could just as easily be a late print or something. But you can take a look at that. Here's Intel leading up to the conference call. Looks like the conference call is about 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Did that finally pop up? Yes, 4 p.m. Central. And trading now down about 80 cents, 82 cents from the close. So we'll see what kind of movement we get after the conference call starts. American Express here, their conference call also at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know if their shares were halted because I don't see any trading going on right now. 1641, we're past that time, right? That's American Express. Don't see any prints coming in after this candle here. And Capital One Finance also drifting down into the conference call. So we'll see what kind of news comes out. That conference call also at 5 p.m. That's Capital One Finance, and they're trading down quite a bit, almost $4 now from the close. So take a look at that. Charlie, Oscar, Foxtrot. See if anything happens there. Taking a peek over at the ES. We see trading at about 75 even, 75 quarter. Still up on the day. A good solid 0.67%, nearly 0.75%. The Asia markets were a little mixed this morning. Japan being up 0.9%, but Shanghai, China, and Hang Seng being down. And then Europe opened up, or I should say Europe closed up on the day. Looks like the FTSE and the DAX both up about 0.5 percentage point, and the CAC 40 in France being up about 1 percentage point solid. Here in the Americas, as we call it, the S&P closing up 0.5%, and the Brazilian Bovespa closing up 0.66%. Arriba. I don't know if that's Brazilian. Mexico closing just about flat, still up on the day, 0.07%. I don't know if I have any of the other markets here on this screen. We have Chile finishing up about 0.33%. The Santiago Index. And that's all I have here on the screen. So we're going to close that one, save some resources. Let's take a look at some of the news around the world. Maybe some not exactly relating to the earnings, but still might be of interest to you guys. This one's a little strange. And I say that because I had it on the screen and now it's gone. What happened to it? Did they take it down? Oh, they moved the time on it. That's what happened. Alright. So, according to the AP, social media buzzes at a picture of an 11-inch Subway foot-long, quote-unquote, foot-long sandwich on Facebook. What's an inch? Apparently enough missing meat, cheese, and tomatoes to cause an uproar. Subway, the world's largest fast food chain with 38,000 locations, is facing widespread criticism after a man who appears to be from Australia, thank you very much, posted a photo on the company's Facebook page of one of its foot-long sandwiches next to a tape measure that shows the sub is just 11 inches. Of course, I'm looking at the sandwich and it looks pretty scrunched, so I don't know if anybody was talking about this earlier. But, yeah, you know what? I've been eating half a sub sandwiches for all my life and been doing pretty good with it. And Subway comes along and all of a sudden I got to spend $5 on a full sandwich. Not exactly sure what that's about. And of course at my local sub place that I love and adore, give a shout out to Tasty Subs in Edison, New Jersey. Their half a sandwich is, I think their full sandwich is about 16 inches. So half is going to give you 8 inches. That's a decent size sandwich. You don't need them to be giants. Jersey Mike's. I've heard of that. I think I've been there. That's a chain, I think, right? Tomahawk. And I'm not knocking Subway. They got a good routine going. But I will say this. I don't know why it takes them so long to make a sandwich. You go into my buddies over there at Tasty in Edison, and they've got a routine going. You tell the first guy, you get off the phone, and you tell him which number sandwich you want. You tell the second person what kind of toppings to put on it. You tell the third person, here to go. And the fourth person just wants to know if you're paying cash or credit. And get out. Keep that line going. Otherwise, no sub for you. So anyway, finishing up this report is that more than 100,000 people have liked or commented on the photo, which had the caption, "Subway, please respond." Well, to the guy's credit, I guess he was looking for a legitimate comment and not going too crazy with it. The New York Post conducted its own investigation. Well, that's really nice to know. We've got the fiscal cliff going on. We've got the crazy story going on from Notre Dame. Don't know if anybody was following that. Little quote-unquote catfish story going on there. But the New York Post is on top of this 11-inch Subway sandwich story. That's just awesome. It says they conducted their own investigation, found that 4 out of 7 foot-long sandwiches that it measured were shy of the 12 inches that makes a foot. Well, thank you, AP, for mentioning that 12 inches makes a foot. This is the dumbing down of America, live on DayTradingRadio.com. The original photo was no longer visible by Thursday afternoon on Subway's Facebook page, which has 19.8 million fans. A spokesman for Subway, which is based in Milford, Connecticut, said Subway did not remove it. Okay. Well, if you're the original poster, I believe you can delete the photo, but if it's on a business's Facebook page, I don't know how that works. I know the company can delete it, but I think once you post it there, I don't know if you can edit it and take it down. Maybe you can. And what's the harm at that point? You just kind of exacerbated it. People are going to be looking for you. Tomahawk, you make that sound like a news item. How else do you make a sandwich? Of course you got to slice it as you make the sandwich. You don't eat pre-sliced meat. Ugh. That you can get at ShopRite. You go over to the deli, and if you don't like waiting online, you go into the counter and grab some pre-sliced. Oh, you're talking about versus Subway. Okay, I'll give you credit. You're right. I guess I'm revealing I haven't been to Subway in a long time. And they are pre-sliced. Yes. Okay, you guys keep making out in the room now. Making Briguy look like a dummy. Once again, thank you for that. It's okay. I'll go back to reading my silly stories. Anyway, Subway's not a tradable stock, so we'll stop talking about that. That's just a little miscellaneous news item. Here's another interesting one. Yoko Ono, Sean Lennon, Susan Sarandon tour a Pennsylvania gas drilling site and talked to affected residents. This is dealing with the fracking issue. They spoke out against fracking Thursday during a tour of this northeastern Pennsylvania gas drilling sites, warning about what they view as a danger to the air, water, and human health. So it's one way to get attention to it when the celebrities start jumping on it. Let's look at some of our post 4 o'clock news. Oil hitting a 4-month high on U.S. economic data, as well as, it seems, the crisis in Algeria. Now, I did see something earlier today that said that some of the American hostages had escaped, I believe. I don't have the exact current news on that. We'll see if we can get some more information on that. And by the way, if you don't like the sub sandwiches at Subway, you can get any sub sandwich made as a salad. So it's kind of a way to get yourself like a chef salad, so to speak. And the nice thing is they'll put any of the toppings on there. So you want to throw some hot peppers and sweet peppers, some black olives and green olives, some red onions, some cabbage. Everything's already cut up, so I don't know what they're doing in the back room. All I know is what they're doing in the front, which is trying to fit on these silly little plastic gloves that don't really give them any movement in their hands. And they're trying to peel cheese as the cheese is sticking to the plastic glove, and they're trying to separate the cheese. I still don't understand that concept. That's about right, Sonny. I think you got that right. You can get the 6-inch amount of meat, and watch the ES here starting to peak up above the 50 moving average. And of course the slower stochastic still in an oversold sort of condition, turning up there. So looking at the gas spot, if you guys are following that at all, already in a position, and you might feel a little confident about that trade at this point. So Intel started their conference call. I don't know if anybody's listening in on any of these reports. Maybe they can fill us in, send in a text, an email. I might need to refresh my email from time to time. I have it kind of turned off from automatically downloading, so it doesn't wipe out my system. But if you guys want to send me if you want to send me some news, we can take a look at that. And let me move this over just a tad. Put that back up. Let's take a look at KSWS. How was that doing today? KSWS announcing a buyout today, touching their 52-week high. KSWS shares, that's Kiwi Sierra Walker Sierra? What's W? W is whiskey. Okay, I'm practicing. Got friends calling in. They got to start knowing I'm doing a show now. I can't take phone calls. Anyway, where'd that news thing go? Just lost it. KSWS share has been fairly consistent in trading today. They've currently up 47.8% at 472. This is a 3 o'clock report that I'm reading to you here. So they finished, looks like, down a penny from that point. They traded in a tight range of $4.70 to $4.73 in today's session, and also touched the 52-week high of $4.73. Shares jumped 47% pre-market following the removal from a trading halt that came after Korean fashion conglomerate Eland World Limited entered into a definitive agreement to acquire the company for $4.75 a share in cash. The deal has a total equity value of approximately $170. I don't know. I feel like I got to answer this call. That's twice he's calling me. It must be important. Maybe he's broken down. Yes. I'm live on the air right now. Yeah, I'm doing a show. I don't have the phone hooked in, but yeah, I can put you up to the microphone. You can say anything you want.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Can you write a number down real quick?
You want me to write a number down?
Write a number down and tell me if you can get this.
Okay. Let me just hang on 1 second for me. Okay. Let me just hang on 1 second for me. Let me put you on. I'm gonna have the repeat going. That wasn't a good idea. Let me put you on. There we go. Okay. Go ahead. What's the number?
Okay. HL.
Wait. Hang on a second. That's a number?
It's the letter HL.
HL.
Dash 2270.
2270.
D as in dog.
All right.
W.
Okay.
Okay, that is a Brother wireless laser printer.
A Brother wireless laser printer. Okay.
I need to know if you can get the drum and the toner cartridge for that. So like you have our other brother, our older one?
Yes.
I need to know if you can get, it says here that the toner cartridge is called TN420.
TN420.
That's the toner.
We like the 420.
There's a high yield one that's TN450.
Okay.
Alright, now I don't know what the model number of the drum is though. It doesn't say it anywhere.
Okay.
So sure, from the name brand or from the number of the wireless printer, you can probably find out. I need to know what price you can get me on that because I'm looking to buy a new printer for Briguy.
Yeah.
But it's all based upon whether I go with HP that does inkjet or I go with one of these brothers where I can change the drum and the toner. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. I hear you.
How soon can you find that out? That information, how much the drum and the toner would be?
Well, it looks like we can get that on eBay right now for about $30.
The toner.
This is the toner.
Okay, where'd you get me the other stuff from? Remember when you bought me that drum and those 2 cartridges for like $110?
Yeah, if I tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Well, I mean, wherever you got it from, you can get it from the same place.
I think, yeah, I'd have to go pull out my paperwork on it, but yeah, I think it was the same place.
How much for the drum on this new one?
You know what? I'll find that out. It's probably in the neighborhood of, just off the top of my head, probably in the neighborhood of about $50, $60, something like that.
Okay, and you said right away you already found the toner. That was 30.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
That's ready to know, man. I appreciate it. I'm about to buy this thing from Staples.
If that changes, I'll let you know.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye, buddy.
All right. You got it. Bye. Okay. Did I do bad? That's a good friend of mine. I may have to actually get it to him for $18. $30 is my installed price because this is going to require a nighttime visit and a babysitting the kids for an hour. It's an all-night event. So, okay. So the Briguy After Hours show starting to turn into the Briguy / Pit My Ride / how much is that toner cartridge from eBay going to cost me? So sorry for the feedback there. I was trying to figure out whether you guys can hear him over the speakerphone. I guess I should have just trusted the equipment on that one. And thank you to RPM for fast finger typing. That's basically no different from the way I would do it. So there you go, KSWS, which I actually was wearing my Swissies today. I really like their shoes. But of course I've had mine for about 5 or 6 years and they're all cut up now. So I may have to get some new ones. Oh no, RPM, you're killing me now. You're killing me. Well, I actually was looking at some Dell toner and those prices I gave. I'm just going to assume that Brother's around the same price as Dell. But thanks for, being such a nice guy and having me read that off on the air. He's probably at Staples right now with the discount. And he's passing it up now because I told him a different number. Anyway, we'll get back to that. So that's KSWS. Let me see what's going on with the tunes here. And we'll put on a couple of songs. We're about 3 minutes from the close on the ES. And also likely some of the other futures. And in honor of my illustrious friend RPM, as well as my iMole, or as he claimed it was a double iMole, other friend, is we'll play this in your guys' honor. Let me know what you think.
To Spotify Premium not only gives you ad-free access on your computer,
we gotta wait for the commercial
but
to
also
finish.
on your cell phone. Stream anything you like from the Spotify library, or listen offline by syncing all your favorite playlists to your cell and desktop.
Lucy, I completely forgot about that,
That's
and you
Spotify
deserve
Premium.
better.
Yours for only
I'm
$9.99
so
a month.
sorry. I'm going to
Just
have to
click
talk
the
to
banner.
RPM, and we'll get that figured out. Or I will just keep my head completely straight and not move around as I talk. Let's enjoy some tunes.
All the rainbow, grace, the
Alright. Hoorah! Hope you like that RPM. I know it's the kind of tunes you like. I was looking up some of the news here on this these toner drums. So we've got a toner drum package going for about $35. So got to factor in the tax on that. And I just want to send my friend a text here. So let's see, toner and drum, and tell him $60 installed, and then toner, and oh no, not toner, I would say two toners and one drum. Make sure he doesn't think it's two. That's roughly $80. I can always adjust it later. Charge him less. Whatever. He pays cash, right? No, but I got to charge the sales tax. That's just, if he wants to buy it himself, he can buy it himself. But if you buy it through me, I got to do it legit. That's just how I roll. So ES now closed, finishing up 10.5 on the day at 14,076. So that's actually not a bad little run. We got the Intel here after the conference call, looking like it wants to take a little bit of a swan dive here now, hitting a low of 21.54. That's down about $1.32, and now cliff diving right after that. So that's Intel. And AXP on the other hand, I don't know if they halted that. There's like no trading going on AXP. But that's that. Let's see if we can bring up Benzinga here, see if we get any follow-up news on Intel post-conference call. I don't see anything. We've got Capital One plunging 6% after their Q4 conference call. Yeah, I'm not quick enough to do your percentage calculations there, but we are hitting about, looks like $57 here. So down about $4.59 and going a little bit further. Shares of Capital One financed lower Thursday after hours trading session after the company released its its fiscal fourth quarter earnings results. Company reported net income of $825 million or $1.41 a share compared to $381 million or 88 cents a share a year ago, in the year ago period. So I would assume that sounds pretty darn good. So not exactly sure what the complete picture is on the sell-off. Let's switch over to Intel and see if we get any news insights there. Starting to think if I got to go to the Twitter feeds to start getting the answers here, but not a lot going on. Paul, stop talking in the chat room and work on the chat server. How are you going to get the chat server straightened out if you're going to be chatting in the chat server? Getting a report here from one of the members that Facebook, Instagram user data looks good. I don't know the latest on that, but as of a week or so ago, I know that there was a bunch of crybaby murmur. I shouldn't say the words. Complaining about Facebook's new policies, which were basically saying that they were going to start selling user-submitted photos, and oh my goodness, all the people that were using their free app suddenly realized that they were giving up their rights to their free app when they were submitting their photos to some other person's website for free. Shocker. You guys do realize if you walk around outside and someone takes your picture, they get to have the rights to it, right? To some degree. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty darn sure. Have you seen your butts on a news item when they're talking about the price of sugary drinks in New York City? And you show the lower half of people walking down the street. It's always such a nice thing. I'm thinking, oh, hey, there's my sister and my wife's girlfriend. That's nice to see them on television. AT&T disclosing on their 8K report a pre-tax charge of $10 billion related to gains and losses on certain benefit plans. Reports their Q4 total smartphone sales at 10.2 million. Update: AT&T sees near-term pressure on the Q4 EPS. Operating income margin. Shares are down 0.5% after hours following this 8K report. Let's take a look at that. That's T Tango closing down 6 cents on the day and doing a nice little swan dive after hours. Looks like we're trading down a good solid 40 cents or so and change. So AT&T, that's one maybe to look at tomorrow if the broader picture looks good. Maybe let that settle a little bit. Tell you what we'll do, since the ES is closed, let's bring this up on our bigger chart here. And there's the ES. Let's take a look at that on a daily. You know what, I'm just going to switch to a different chart. Here's our daily. And this is kind of looking like a broken pattern here. So let's slide that over and see where we're at. So we already passed this point of resistance at 33.04. We broke through that. We're trading above it now, but we broke through that. Then we've got this point back here, November 16th, with a low of 32.90. And I think we held off of that number. And then we've got this from November 9th, a low of 32.71. And then after that, we'd have to come way back here to either $30.61, $30 or $29.95 actually, way back here. So that's a tough call. That's a tough call. We'll see if the 2050 has a cross here. But that's one. If we start breaking past some of these numbers here in early November, then you might want to pile into the fun. But also take note, we have an earnings call coming in January 24th. So that is next Thursday. That's options expiration week. So all you conspiracy theorists out there, if you want to, here's a crazy thought, and I'm not telling you to do this. This is for educational purposes only. But if this thing gets beat up pretty darn good, and you want to look at doing a straddle going into this call, see what the straddles are worth. Or if you want to get yourself an early position in a call opportunity. Because wouldn't it just be nice if these stochastics, as they're almost in an oversold level, and then we get our AT&T report and they start saying about how wonderful their sales are, and we're getting a report now their shares are down 1.2% after hours. Once the dust settles on this 8K report and they decide to start popping back up again. That's hard to tell completely because we do have above average volume. We've got the moving averages sitting above us. So there's definitely a lot more things to look at there. But for now, personally, I wouldn't take a trade in it. It just looks too broken for me. I do like the high probability trades. But if you want to bring that up to DTR tomorrow, feel free to do that. We got some other people posting some comments here. Dutch Windmill, thanks for the report on Instagram. Despite reports of a mass exodus, Instagram actually grew more than 10% last month. And that's the kind of thing I would expect. I think there are plenty of existing users that perhaps may have stopped using it for a time, and then just because Instagram was in the news, folks decided they wanted to check it out. And I have to say myself, I actually came about this close to signing up with an Instagram account. I don't have one. I held back. I don't take a lot of photos with my phone. but when I do take photos, and I'm not just talking about photos of friends and family, but just some kind of perspective photo. I like taking some low-angle shots on roadways or railroad tracks or streams. You know, I'll climb down into the dirt and mud if it's going to be a good shot, or a shot up into the trees. But other than that, you know, I like those shots to be for me. I don't want to give that up. So we're coming up to 5:30 Eastern Time here. What did my charts just do? They went and reset themselves here. Don't do that, you stinker. Alright. And here you see the Briguy effect as we start talking about shorting T, and we're climbing back up now from this low of 32.75. So you guys can take a look at that. Sony in the news. What's going on with Sony? We saw some trades from that earlier today. Let me bring up my DTR live trade alerts shout box. We had a profit taking of Sony at about noontime, and then getting back into the action at about 1:30. So that's the old admonition of buy high or sell high and buy higher. But still looking good, right? So what's that news item that just crossed the wire? Nikkei reporting that Sony is considering sales of New York building. The New York Sony building. So I'm not sure what that building is. But I don't see that really hitting the market here after hours, so I guess not that big of a deal. Let's see what some of the news here in Thinkorswim is telling us. International companies trading in New York closed higher Thursday amid positive economic data and talk of central bank stimulus in Japan. The Bank of New York index of ADRs rose 0.8%. In the U.S., housing starts jumped in December more than economists had expected, while jobless claims fell more than expected. Meanwhile, Japanese news outlet Nikkei reported the Bank of Japan is planning further action to stimulate the economy. The European index added 0.8%. Belgian food retailer Delhaize Group, DEG, stemmed falling sales at its U.S. stores in the fourth quarter of 2012 as the revamp of its Food Lion chain started to bear fruit. Get it? Their Food Lion chain started to bear fruit. Anyway, higher volumes at Food Lion and Delhaize's Hannaford chain pushed fourth quarter U.S. sales up 1.9%, marking a turning point for the company after 4 quarters of decline. Shares rose 9.8% to $46.69. On the downside, Rio Tinto, that's Romeo Indigo Oscar, fell 0.4% to $54.82. Tom Albanese stepped down as the UK-based mining group's chief executive, as Rio Tinto said it would book a $14 billion impairment charge against the value of its aluminum unit, along with Mozambique coal assets. That's what I always say about those Mozambique coal assets. Gotta watch that. Let me fix the screen here. It's suddenly deciding to get a little wacky on us here. Scoot that over. And actually I want to talk about this in a little bit, so let's put that on the screen. See what that's doing. Ding, 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 ding. Boom. The Asian index jumped 0.9%. Sony Corporation shares rose as Goldman Sachs upgraded the Japanese consumer electronics company to neutral from sell. Goldman cited recent yen weakening and upped its Euro-Japanese repatriation rate for the fiscal year ending March to 110 from the prior 100 mark. Shares rose 6.3% to $11.91. That was the high of the day. I don't know why they're quoting the high of the day. I don't think that was the... See, I love it when you read these reports. Okay. So when I read this, that was 1198. Okay, 1198 was the high of the day. 1191 was the close of the day. All right, back to this. The Latin American index rose 0.5% to 343.24, and the emerging markets index added 0.5%. And there's a couple other stocks mentioned here. So that's a little international news. I thought we were just going to get some Sony news, but did not get it. Earlier today, Sony CEO dispels rumors of Sony Pictures divestiture, upbeat on company's direction. And I think that's around the time that Johnny closed out the trade, so probably a good idea. Those rumors start coming out, kill the trade on you. And what's my gold doing? Why does it keep scooting over? Stinker. Get to the end there. All right. So that's the live news there on Sony. I started reading this report here about oil. Oil hits a 4-month high in U.S. economic data. Algeria, 4-month high on Thursday, finishing at $95.49, the highest since September 17th. Oil's now gained 4% this year. The situation in Algeria also gave a boost to oil. Algerian forces launched a raid to free hostages being held by militants. Some casualties were reported. Traders are waiting for China's growth data Friday to better assess the strength of the global economy. China will release fourth quarter growth data for 2012 as well as overall GDP figures for the year. And of course, we're going to believe every minute of it, right? In the U.S., pump prices held steady around an average of $3.29 a gallon, right where they were at the beginning of the year. So that's the report there on oil. Let's see what else happened in the news. Dear Abby advice columnist dies at age 94. I don't know if I missed this being mentioned earlier today. But Dear Abby, you may know, is a very popular news advice column that I don't believe the original has been writing them for some time. I think we had some substitutes. Let's see what the article, if they clarify that. Pauline Friedman Phillips.
Shares of New Path, ticker Papa Alpha Tango Hotel, halted, news pending.
News pending. On, what was that? Newstastic? I have to get the volume up there. Or did you guys hear that okay? Maybe I just got my headphones a little too low. Getting some breaking news out of San Diego State University. Reports a suspect with a large AK-47. That's just peachy. Let's see, I usually get those alerts in my email here, and I close that email down. Let's see. Yep, don't have that yet. So, new subscriber on YouTube. That's always good. Unless it's a spammer, in which case, oh well. A new user has subscribed, but they don't have a YouTube channel. But they will still receive notifications when you upload new videos. So I don't get to know who they are. That gives me a lot of confidence. We'll see how that turns out. New Path halted with news pending. That's New Path, P-A-T-H. Path is the symbol. Let's see what New Path. Yeah, I start to wonder when some of these sub $5 stocks are getting halted. They really have that much going on. Yep, nothing special happening there. So, I'm not going to hold my breath for that. So, Phillips died Wednesday in Minneapolis, long battle with Alzheimer's disease. And we have a quote from her daughter, who now writes the column. My mother leaves very big high heels to fill, with a legacy of compassion, commitment, and positive social change. Funeral services on Thursday. The long-running Dear Abby column first appeared in the San Francisco Chronicle in 1956. Mother and daughter started sharing the byline in 2000, and Gene Phillips took over in 2002. So, the two columns differed in style, and Landers responded to questioners with homey, detailed advice. Abby's replies were often flippant and occasionally risque one-liners, like some of those collected from her 1981 book, The Best of Dear Abby. Dear Abby, my boyfriend is going to be 20 years old next month. I'd like to give him something nice for his birthday. What do you think he'd like? Carol. Dear Carol, never mind what he'd like, give him a tie. No drum roll? Rim shot? Nothing? We'll try another one. Dear Abby, what inspires you most to write? Ted. Dear Ted, the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Still nothing. Okay. Let's try another one. Dear Abby, I've been going with this girl for a year. How can I get her to say yes? Signed, Don. Dear Don, what's the question? Thank you, Dyla. Somebody sticking up for me. Leave me out here all by myself, the rest of you. That means we will be looking for a song suggestion from Dyla, because I can't remember the name of the guy I played last time. Was it Sean Cassidy? We'll play some Sean Cassidy for Dyla. This is the news segment, Kumar. We're reading the news. You have no compassion. Speaking of compassion, Rihanna's fashion collection is due to debut in February. I can't imagine there's a whole lot of clothing going on there. Let's see if there's a big company that she's tied in with. And I don't see the name of a stock, so perhaps not. Rihanna's collection for British brand River Island is slated for its debut next month during London Fashion Week. Fashion Week organizers listed the pop star on its official calendar of fall previews. So, Fashion Week, huh? Should write that down. Next week is Fashion Week. We might have to follow up with some fashion tips. So, dream come true for Rihanna. I'm sure getting the Grammys were not. Copper gains on an outlook for economic growth. We talked about that briefly. I love it when they have one particular thing moves up from one particular report, right? It's not because all the stocks were hitting all-time highs. It's not because because other metals were also moving up. Thank you for the suggestion there, Beauty Bubble. Appreciate it. I'm not familiar with that, but I'll be happy to bring that up. Mayor, no deal on New York City teacher evaluation plan. I don't know if that's a national story, but there has been a lot of things going on in the news regarding New York City teachers and the fact that some of them, because of the way the pension works and the way the tenure works, they could be horrible, horrible teachers, and yet they get to keep their jobs and have to keep getting paid. In fact, there was a documentary done a number of years ago called Waiting for Superman, if you want to check that out, and actually documented the fact that there's this classroom that teachers have to report to and sit in the classroom, and they collect their salary just for sitting there, because they're awful teachers to teach kids, but they're tenured, so they have to get their paycheck. It's just a crazy, crazy system. Government food price baffles the Argentines. I don't know if we have Deco around. He's probably out tending to his other after-hours duties with his wife, but government food price claims baffle Argentines. Officials say 6 pesos a day keeps you fed, but a ham sandwich costs 13. So Maximum Liberty, you're looking for some newswire noise. You're talking about in general? Because I do have Mr. Land on, but he's not saying anything. But if you want me to get something on a loop and just run it in the background, maybe we'll do that. It might not be a bad idea. We'll have some kind of a newsroom noise, like the ticker going on in the background. Tick, 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 tick. Let's put some of this little background tunes here while we go through the rest of these news items. This is interesting about Argentina. So 6 pesos a day, that's all it takes to eat in Argentina, at least according to the government. But on the streets of the capital, 6 pesos doesn't stretch beyond a pack of chewing gum or a cup of yogurt or a single alfajor cookie. I can't roll my tongue, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know we were going to turn this into a gimmick show, but if that's what you guys are steering us towards. These are from the AP, Kumar. This is the AP Wire. If you want to... I don't have this on my other computer with the chat room, but the web address I'll give to you guys, it's on one of my earlier Tools of the Trade shows, actually, when I gave out some of my little tips. So the website is biz.yahoo.com/APF Alpha Papa Foxtrot /archive.html. So you should be able to get these reports there through Yahoo. Argentina's traditional caramel and chocolate treats are tasty, but don't provide what the government calls the minimum calories and proteins needed to sustain a moderately active adult. As the International Monetary Fund moved closer Thursday to sanctioning Argentina for inaccurate inflation data, dun dun dun, the Associated Press checked prices in Buenos Aires and couldn't find a can of soda for less than 8 pesos. Even a ham and cheese sandwich cost 13 pesos at a downtown kiosk. That's if you skip the lettuce and tomato. Food purchased at supermarkets is more economical, of course, but even there, 6 pesos, just 1 can of green peas or a pound of raw rice. Let me repeat that because I misread the word. At the supermarkets, 6 pesos bought just 1 can of green peas or a pound of raw rice. Not enough for a complete and healthy diet. So maybe tomorrow, if I don't remember to do this, you guys can ask Diego about that, because he's down there in Argentina, and I believe he owns a grocery store, so he might have some interesting perspective on this. Nobody eats for 6 pesos a day, said Marta Villagra, 25, as she lifted her 5-year-old son into a garbage container on Thursday. Ripping open trash bags in search of anything of value, she said she spends her days gathering cardboard to recycle, earning as much as 100 pesos a day if she's lucky. That covers a meager stew for herself and her child for 70 pesos and leaves little else to spare. Unbelievable. Everybody thinks about the Mardi Gras. Or, I guess that's not the name of the Brazilian party. Is it Mardi Gras? It's New Orleans. Carnival. Maybe that's it. Let's see. Intel Q4 profit is down, beats the street. Study in New York City better than LA at cutting kids' obesity. I don't know if you guys know this, but you can't buy a soda in New York City for more than 16 ounces. At least not at the restaurants. Capital One's more than doubles in fourth quarter, but we saw what that price looked like. OMX creates a single technology business unit. Let's see what that's about. Should put those charts back up there. See if anything else going on after hours. Not much. You see AT&T moving off those lows. The NASDAQ OMX Group said Thursday that it will combine 2 parts of its business into one unified technology unit and appointed a leader of the new organization. company which operates the NASDAQ stock market will combine its technology and corporate solutions businesses. It said the move will increase the company's focus on technology and improve its ability to grow its technology service sold to customers. All right. Not as exciting as I thought it'd be. Greece debates probe of Swiss account scandal. Heard about that earlier today, but here's a latest report on it. Greece's parliament was to vote late Thursday on whether to launch criminal investigations into two former prime ministers and two finance ministers over how leaked data on Greeks who banked in Switzerland was handled. The list was handed to Athens by French authorities in 2010 as Greece's economy was imploding, but Greek authorities failed to investigate the data for potential tax evasion, sparking outrage at a time of severe salary and pension cuts and spiraling unemployment. All three parties in the governing coalition said they are in favor of investigating former Finance Minister George Papakonstantinou, the main architect of Greece's first austerity program, for allegedly deleting the names of three of his relatives from the list and for a breach of duty, offenses that could mean he goes to prison. Anyway, I think we get the gist of that report. Taxpayers ease banks' costs in deal, and housing report gives stocks a boost. Those are some of the headlines that I'm reading here today. So we're coming up on 6 o'clock, and what we're going to do is take a couple of moments. I had a question come up in the options room today, and maybe some of you guys, if you're still around, you can help us out with it. It has to do with covered calls. So I'm going to set up some of the charts here on the screen, and while I do that, or before I get into that, we'll play a couple tunes. We'll play a little, now that I know how to spell, Sean Cassidy. And now I'm not sure if I did spell it right. What happened here? There it is. We'll play a little Sean Cassidy here for Dyla. And then we'll play a little nice tune for Dear Abby. A little song suggestion from Beauty Bubble. Get that queued up. And we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Thanks, guys. See Intel starting to move up off of its lows.
Get risk-free entertainment. Drop satellite and slow DSL and switch to the Xfinity Triple Play from Comcast. Visit Comcast.com/Xfinity for an exclusive online offer. Xfinity, the future of awesome. Offer ends 3/21/13. Restrictions apply.
The next time you need a getaway, take the easy way. Carnival Cruise Lines now sails year-round from New York City, which means a cruise to the Caribbean starts in your very own backyard. So trade in those pigeons for parrots, hot dogs for 24/7 room service, and your seat on the train for one in a deck chair. The Caribbean has never been closer. Well, except for on Puerto Rican Day, but that's once a year. And like I said, Carnival Cruise Line sails year-round from New York City. Start exploring your next Caribbean escape at Carnival.com.
About 3 months ago, I was in Rome, Italy, not New York. I don't know what I was doing there. I was just there. I got this sandwich one day, and they gave me a newspaper with it. It was the only newspaper they had there that was in English, and they had all the news from all around the world just crammed into 4 pages. Didn't even have any funnies in there, you know. Every time you turn a page, something just jumped right out at you, you know. I found an old friend in there, and I wrote her a song. It's for Dear Abby. Dear Abby, my feet are too long. My hair's falling out and my rights are all wrong. My friends, they all tell me that I've no friends at all. Won't you write me a letter? Won't you give me a call? Signed, Bewildered. Bewildered, bewildered, you have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, my fountain pen leaks. My wife hollers at me and my kids are all freaks. Every side I get up on is the wrong side of the bed. If it weren't so expensive, I'd wish I were dead. Signed, unhappy. Unhappy, unhappy, you have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby, you won't believe this, but my stomach makes noises whenever I kiss. My girlfriend tells me it's all in my head, but my stomach tells me to write you instead. Sign, noisemaker. Noisemaker, noisemaker, you have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, well, I never thought that me and my girlfriend would ever get caught. We were sitting in the backseat just shooting the breeze, with her hair up in curlers and her pants to her knees. Signed, just married. Just married, just married, you have no complaint. You are what you are and you ain't what you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Signed, Dear Abby.
All right. That was Dear Abby by John Prine. John Prine. Dear Abby. Cute little song there. Thanks for that recommendation. Dear old Abby. Gone at age 94. So, we had a little question come up in the trading room about, or in the options room I should say, about trading covered calls. And I was trying to think them through by kind of answering the question in pieces as best I could. And maybe you guys can, short of me reading an entire article on this right now, you can help me talk through this here as a strategy. So here is a profit and loss or risk profile, I guess we really should call it, on Riverbed. And I've adjusted the stock prices. Riverbed currently closed at $19.99. But for purposes of our discussion, I've adjusted it to $20. And then a plus 10% and minus 10% move is giving us $22 and $18. That's these red dashed lines here generating some slices on the screen. I don't know that that will really mean a whole lot to us for what we're going to talk about. And then down here I've added a bunch of various call opportunities between the January, February, and also March calls. And we're starting off with looking at $100 that you may perhaps own in Riverbed at $20 a share versus selling one January 19 call, which is currently trading, I believe, at $2 and, or was it even that high? Or did I inflate that? January 19 call is at $1. Why did I make that 2? Let's make that $1. Or maybe I was trying to go back in time. So what we talked about was the fact that once we run out of theta on our option, and actually at this point, let's change our Greeks here. So we're losing about 2 cents a day on this, and we are a day away from expiration. 2 cents a day is not actually making sense to me. It should seem to be a lot more than that at this point, since it's going to expire next week, right? Or this week. No, it is tomorrow. What am I thinking about? I think I misspoke about that earlier when I mentioned oh, you know what it was? I was talking to somebody earlier about Martin Luther King, the Martin Luther King holiday. A couple of years ago, that holiday fell on expirations week. And I was mentioning that I had a pretty nice position. I had about, I don't know, I think it was about 10 calls in Apple from the week before. And I was up about $1,000 going into the weekend. Earnings were due out the following week and were actually looking good. And I was actually looking to make a killing on the trade. And hello, Simon. And as it turns out, that Monday, with the markets closed, Apple announced that CEO Steve Jobs was going to take a leave of absence from the company and address an illness that he had. And of course, with no ability to get rid of those options on a Monday, the market just completely evaporated on Tuesday. And even though, and I was really new to trading options, so I didn't fully grasp what was about to happen. So even though I had a few $100s of value to them on Tuesday, I still held out some kind of crazy belief that when the earnings came out, and they were supposed to be good earnings, that the shares would rally and I'd get my $1,000 profit that I was looking for. Forget about the fact that those $3 contracts were now worth about 30 cents. So anyway, the bottom line is at the end of the week, I lost all that money. So good times. And that's why I was thinking it was expiration week next week and not this week. So go back to the risk profile. I'm not sure these January calls are even a valid explanation at this point. Why don't we say that we have the 100 shares at 20 and we have the January 19 call that we sell at $1. So according to the chart here, and if we go by the green line, in fact I can adjust the date here and make the white line kind of match the green line anyway. So on expiration on Friday, this trade's value is $19 if the stock price stays where it is, stays at 20, then the value of the trade is 19. So I think that makes sense, right? Why is this? Let me try to get this adjusted. Okay. So if we did that, that means we're going to put $2,000 in on the one side. We're going to bring in $100. But then are we losing all the money? Is that, maybe somebody can help me talk this through here. Oh, that's why that happens. Thank you, Dyla. You're gaining theta if you short the call. Okay, I'm not thinking of it backwards. So here's the deal. I don't know why is this saying 0? Do I have something checked I shouldn't have checked? This is 20, this is 10. The profits would be 0. Maybe because it's saying I spent the $2,000 already. You know, drew all this out and now the chart's not making a lot of sense to me. Let me see if I use a different option. In this case, capping out at 100. Now I'm starting to think if I should even bother drawing this out. Let me get my pencil and my paper. So if we spend $20 on 100 shares, that's $2,000, right? It's showing I don't have an open position, but I have the $100 stock right here. Is that not? Yeah. That should be factoring in. The $100, 100 shares rather. So if I get rid of the 100 shares, there's simply the value of the option. Let me see if I adjust this. And nope. But I guess what we're doing is we're capping our losses here on the downside. Is that the idea? That shows your profit and loss on open positions. It does, but this is on simulated, so that's why we're looking at simulated trades. It will, if I had a trade, and somebody said this earlier, if I owned Riverbed right now, then it would show up here on this top section. That's why here hide simulations, hide positions. See, there's no positions being shown right now. So I've added a line item here for 100 shares of Riverbed at $20 a share, and then I've added a bunch of strike prices, but I can check them on and off here, and so I have that option sitting here, the January option, selling it for $1. And now the screen seems like it really got a little wacky here. Oh, because I got the stock. So if I just have the stock checked off, obviously at $20, that's my break even. I spent $20 on the stock, and if the stock goes up higher than $20, then there's my there's my profit line onto infinity off to the right. And if it goes below $20, then there's my losses down below zero, down to the number 2,000 should be here on the left-hand side, because that would be the most I can lose. If we sell a $1 call against this, this is where this thing's getting a little skewed. As long as the value of Riverbed stays above $19 a share, then it would seem to me that we'd get to keep the stock. And we would also keep the $1 credit. Does that sound right? January 19 call with a $1 credit, which of course is $100. And then the point being that in reality, instead of being $2,000, we would have $1,900 as our cost basis at that point. So to make this represent $1,900, we can actually change that to a 9. Get rid of this. So now our cost basis is down here. And since the shares are trading at 20, we're going to be up $100 at the end of the week. Let's say next Monday. Then the question is, if we roll out and then sell the February call, so January expires, and then we get the February call for $2, or sell it for $2, then let's check that one off. And we'll move this to expiration date February 16th or 15th. I guess we really got to go the one extra day so we get to the end of the day. So again, as long as Riverbed finishes above 19, we're going to keep the full credit of $2. It's when it drops below 19 is when we start losing money. Now, in this case, you see we're still above the zero line. And I think this was kind of the question. Where's that break even? And if I slide this over, we see our break even is down here at 17. So even if the value of the stock drops below 19, we're still going to be in the money when we combine it with the credit. And if, let's say, it went to 18 on expiration, and then this gets called away from us, we would have kept the $100 from the first month and the $200 from the second month and be gone the stock. So it's almost like making $3. Is that about right? If the stock is below the strike, we keep the stock? Okay, so I guess I'm saying that backwards. If the stock, so you're saying if I sell a $2 call and the stock goes down to $15, that $2 call is going to expire worthless. And I'd keep the stock. So I'm going to accept that. And I'm also going to say that I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this. I probably need just some more graphs and charts in order to wrap my head around it, and I don't mean to take up your time. In doing that, I appreciate it very much. I do have somebody contacting me on Skype here. And, okay, here I thought he was giving me my name, but he's giving me his name. And let's see, is he signed into the chat room? Doodle-doodle-doo. Doodle-doo. Nope, he is not. Okay. Well, thanks for checking in there, Simon. Dyla, you are welcome to call in if you think you can straighten me out on this. I would at least like to have the screen show what it is you're describing, and then even if I don't get it, maybe someone else out there will get it. Absolutely. I'd be honored. Now she's got to go find her microphone and her headset. Figure out where her mouse is. Wow, it actually rang fewer times than yesterday, so my computer must be feeling a little bit better today. Welcome to Briguy's After Hours Die Laughing. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. You probably saw earlier the question that came up in the options room, and I tried to do my best to talk it through. And in the end, Furthers, I think, walked away saying that he got it, but I'm not sure I'm getting it. So I don't know how he got it, but I must have said something right.
Well, we were talking about different things, and I think his question was, well, let me look at the chat room. As I recall, his question was, hey, I have this covered call. I bought the stock. There is some time left to expiration. The strike now below where the current stock price is. Therefore, if it were going to expire right now, the stock would get called away. But given that there is more time to expiration, is there anything that I can do besides just wait for this thing to play out? In other words, wait for them to call the stock away and make more money. Am I making sense?
I believe that's about right, yeah.
Okay. So, the answer, with all of trading, the answer is always, it depends. It depends on what the stock is doing. It depends on your risk tolerance. All these different things come into play. So I was getting a little bit confused on what exactly it is you were trying to demonstrate, or, is that the question you were trying to answer, or were you just trying to wrap your head around the covered call in general, or what's the goal?
Okay, well, I didn't have all of his information about how much he paid for the stock and how much the call was going for when he did buy it, or sell it, I should say. So I just try to make up some numbers, and I don't know if these numbers are going to work out. Let me ask you a dummy question, and that is, if you're going to let the stock get called away, so in this example I have on the screen, you buy Riverbed for $19, and you sell a February $2 call.
Wait, a February $2 call?
A February 19 call at $2.
Okay.
That's what I have on the screen. It's the second red line item here. So my question is, if the stock does drop below 19, you're saying to let it get called away, right?
No, if the stock drops below 19, it won't get called away.
It won't get called away.
And you get to keep the $2 premium that you got for the call.
And the stock.
And you get to keep the stock. That's right. Now, if the stock goes over 19...
Over 19.
Then it gets called away.
Then it gets called away.
Right, because whoever bought that call and paid you $2 wants to buy your stock for 19 and sell it into the market for 22 or whatever it is it's selling for at the time.
So what happens to the $1,900 I put up to buy the stock?
You get to keep the $2 per contract share that you got for the call, plus you get the money that the person's going to pay you for the stock. So you're going to get $19 per share for the stock, plus the $2 that you got up front for the call. So your total return is going to be $21.
All right, so maybe that's the part I'm missing. So when we talk about your stock getting called away, you're not giving it up. It's not like you just handed it over to somebody and it's gone.
No, they're buying it for $19. That was the contract. They paid you $2.
There we go. Maybe that's the key.
Yeah, they paid you $2 to be able to buy your stock for $19.
There you go. Okay.
So if it goes to 24, do they want to buy your stock for $19? Heck yeah, because they can go and turn around and sell it for 24.
Okay.
They call you up and go, hey, Briguy, I want to exercise my call. I'm buying your stock from you. I'm giving you $19. That was our deal.
Okay. So that's, I think, where I was having the disconnect. So we have at least, basically when you're doing this, is if you're wrong, you're just capping your gains.
Exactly.
Ding, ding, ding. Well, you make it sound so easy.
So if the stock starts going to the moon, if the stock does go to 24, I think what the question was in the chat room today was, hey, I bought the stock for 19. I sold the $19 stock for $2. Therefore, my cost basis is now 19 minus 2, or 17, correct?
Okay.
That's what he's saying, okay. And so his question is, now the stock's gone to 24, but the most that I can make is the $2.
Yes.
So is there anything that I can do? And the answer is not really. I mean, there is, but the thing is, when you do a covered call, what happens is when the trade goes right, that's just the way it works. You've capped your gain, and really you should be, letting it get called away and doing your happy dance, because that's what you want to happen.
Okay.
You want them to call the stock away. If you think the stock's going to continue to go to the moon, you can open a new trade, a completely different trade. You could sell another covered call.
Okay, now that gets into a little bit of what I thought the question was, which is at what point do you buy back the call in the 1 month and then sell a call in either a higher strike or into the next month?
I think most people just let it get called away and then do it all over on Monday, the following Monday.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know that it makes a lot of sense to do any rolling, because once you start rolling, well, you're going to have commissions anyway.
Right.
When you open a new trade, you're going to have commissions. I'm trying to think if there's any reason to roll it.
Well, because I remember...
You could roll it.
Okay. I remember what Further was mentioning was some kind of a break-even point. Maybe that's not the right term, but there was like some kind of a sweet spot, let's call it, where it made sense to close the one call and then buy the next one. And I see Tomahawk talking about buying it back, buying the call back.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a sweet spot as far as that goes, because you're getting the theta. You're getting the theta either way. You're either going to get the theta on the current month, the front month call that you sold, or you're going to start getting theta on the one that you roll it to if you roll it out to the next month.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the break even is whatever you paid for the stock minus whatever you got for the call. That's why you just had it down there around 17.
Yeah, when I had that one checked off, right?
Right, that's why the
back.
break even is at 17.
Yeah, I can see that now. So if it trades above 19, that's why you're keeping the $2. And that's why this is showing the profit at $200. This must be just focusing on the options. That's why it wasn't making sense. I was losing the 1900 in this graph. But apparently this graph is not mentioning the stock itself. It's only looking at the options.
Okay.
And so it's demonstrating that if it stays above 19, you keep the full $200 profit.
Right.
If it drops down to 17, then the stock gets called away.
No.
For 17.
No.
No, correct me.
No, the stock doesn't get called away for 17. 17 is your break-even point.
So how is it break-even? What's the break-even aspect of it?
What you did was you bought the stock for $19 per share, and you sold the call for $2 per share.
Okay.
That's your break-even. 19 minus 2, that's the 17.
Okay.
So what happens is, if the stock falls below 17, then you start losing money.
Okay.
If the stock closes, let's put it at 18.
Oh wait, I think I know what you're saying, because the stock will be worth 17, so I'm out my $2 that way. All right. Okay, I'm getting there.
Right.
It's the mix of the stocks and the options. I trade a lot of options, so getting into the combining it with the stocks is the part I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, it can get confusing. It takes a long time to get used to trading options. At least for me, it has.
Yep. Okay, but I think you helped me with that. Just mentioning that. So let me just change this to the February 21 call, which was $1. So it's a $2 difference, but you're only able to get $1 for that. And now we're saying, now the P&L says it's $300, and that's because the stock, if somebody called that away at 21 and above, they'd have to pay you $2,100 for it, no?
That is correct.
No, they wouldn't be paying 19. Oh, because it's a February 21 call. Duh. All right.
Right.
So they have to buy it from you for 21.
They can if they want. They don't have to do anything because they bought the option.
Oh, right. But if they do, so they buy it for 21. I only paid 19, so I'm getting $2 there. I keep the credit, so that's another $1 there. So that's $3 I would get. Exactly. And that's why this says that anything above 21, I'm going to make $300 on.
Right. So even if it goes to 24, you still only get $300. But that's good because that's what you wanted.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Intriguing. So now if we roll this out to March and look at the March 19, and that, let me round that off at 2 1/4, and we'll call the other one 1 1/4. So again, this is a green. Let me look at the green number. So 225 is what we would make over 19. Now I see why you guys do this every month.
Fun, huh?
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. I'm trying to read some of the comments to see if these guys are just cheering or are they're adding some info here.
I see some whoop whoops from Tomahawk. He's always good for the whoop whoops.
All right. You know what? I think a little light went on in my head on this conversation. It helped a lot.
Cool.
So, how are you doing otherwise?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Very
good. How are you doing otherwise?
Still trying to learn. Still trying to learn it all.
Yeah, me too.
But I got some GLD calls that are working out okay, and I double checked the charts this morning, and I still felt good about gold on that pullback. In fact, I was going to show that on the screen, and sure enough, the thing came back in full force, and I made out on the pop.
Excellent.
Oh, and I also took some advice from you, and I talked to my broker and said, you know what, broker, there's these other markets out there, these other brokers out there that are selling option or charging their option fees in minuscule amounts compared to what you want to charge me, Mr. TDA. And how about you do a little bit better?
You're with Ameritrade.
Yeah. So I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody out there, and I'm not saying I even got the best deal because I think I could do better. But for now, I got the per trade part of the commission to be taken away.
Excellent.
So I'm down to paying just a per contract fee. They're charging me $1.50, so that's a little bit more, I think, than what you guys are paying, right?
Not by much, though. That's a great price.
That's not bad. I know there's other traders here that are doing 75 cents with Ameritrade, but I just think their volume might be a little bit more than mine.
No, that's great. I mean, when I still have a TDA account, and when I trade with them, I still get dinged for the $10 per trade, and then another $1.75 or something for the options. So yeah, it's really painful.
Yeah. So that's just a little, suggestion to all you guys out there, and you gave me the idea because you were also using IB, and I thought you were using those for options, but I could be wrong.
No, I do. I use Interactive Brokers. I switched to them. Oh gosh, it's been almost a year now.
Okay.
And best thing I ever did. I tell you, I haven't done the math, but I've probably saved thousands of dollars easily.
Yeah.
Just on commissions, and it makes it so much easier to do the trade that you know you should do, because when you start looking at commissions and it starts to affect whether you want to enter or exit a trade,
right,
that's a bad thing. You know, you shouldn't be making trade decisions based on how much it's going to cost.
Absolutely.
If you eliminate that from the equation, it just makes it so much easier.
Absolutely, and that's what made me approach it. And I try to get them to do it for $1, but they wouldn't do it based on my volume, and my volume hasn't really been there this past year, and maybe the last quarter I've started to trade more and more, and I figured maybe I'll just give it another quarter or two and then maybe go back to them and see if I can get them to drop it to $1. But for now, it does make it nice that you can get into a trade and not think that I needed to go at least 30 cents before I'm going to make anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I know exactly what you mean.
So that's that makes it a little easier, and especially, and another thing I learned from another member here at DayTradingRadio.com is to not think that you got to have 10 or 20 contracts in order to be profitable. So just doing a couple of contracts and keeping it simple. I do one contract. Unless I'm I'm trying to make a home run on a contract that's 35 cents, and I'm thinking it's going to move a lot, and I want to buy 3 of them. I buy one contract. That's it. Look at that. See that when I first was doing options, the guy had it stuck in my head to get 10.
I was doing that too. Boy, that was an expensive lesson.
Oh man, having $50 in commissions in every trade that you're trying to break even on.
Yeah, that's painful. It's fun when they go right, but when they go wrong, it's really, really painful.
True. Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling in, Dyla.
You're welcome. Good to talk to you, and I'll talk to you again, I'm sure.
Yes, very good. Enjoy the day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, so that is that. So, guys, if you want to call into the show, I try to tell you, I don't want you to feel pressured into being on for half an hour or an hour. You're welcome to just come on like Dyla there, straighten me out a little bit. I was just getting a little stuck on that observation, and it looks like we got past that, so I really appreciate that. So, got a text messages coming in, and I have a feeling I heard my wife's car start, and she's sneaking out without telling me anything. But that's okay, she's allowed to. And I'm getting a question here. Question from our viewers. Let me check in with my producer. Sammy, is that a viewer? Yes, it is. It's a viewer. And they are asking, could you close out a covered call if you're taking heat on it? So let's reason this out here. This went back to GLD. Let's put Riverbed back on the screen. So, could you close out a covered call if you're taking heat on it? I'm trying to process what it is you're asking. So that would mean that the value of the call is going up, right? So you sold it for 2 and now it's worth 3. Let's take the February example here of 19. So you sold it for 2 and it's worth 3. I think the lesson here, and again, I'm not going to tell you guys I am a professional on covered calls, because I really, I've not really played around with them. I don't have experience trading them, and at the same time, I've heard plenty of seminars and hours and hours and hours of video, and seen this as presented as a wealth building strategy. Let me just put it that way. So absolutely worth checking. Oh, and we have a caller checking back in with us, perhaps looking to answer that question. Dyla, on the line.
Hi.
My goodness, that didn't take long.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Oh, you know how if you're taking heat on a covered call, that means the stock is dropping.
Oh, okay.
And if the stock is dropping, the call is dropping too.
Oh, so it's not going the other way. All right, so I said that wrong.
No, the call is probably going to go to zero if the stock is closing or if the stock is dropping on you.
Okay.
So in this case, if you bought it at 19 and we were talking about this case before where your break even is 17.
Right.
And I see that's the one you still have on the screen. Well, if your stock goes below 17, that's where you start losing money.
Okay.
If this stock goes to 16, you're down $100.
Okay.
So what you can do in this case, and absolutely you want to minimize your risk because your maximum risk is the whole thing. You know, if the stock goes to zero, you've lost it all. So yes, there are circumstances under which you want to limit your risk by closing the trade. Now what will happen if the stock starts dropping is the call will become, you know, worth less and less until eventually it's worth nothing. So what you need to do is close that call contract out by buying it back.
Okay.
So you sold the call for $2. You need to buy it back for 50 cents or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And once you've closed that call contract, then you can sell your stock.
Right. Right. Yeah, that aspect, that's the literal aspect of how to do it, because you can't have a naked call by selling the shares first.
Exactly.
Unless you've got plenty of money in your account, and your broker will let you do that. But the point is to get rid of the call first. And it seems like if you're taking heat on the trade, which is what the question was, if you're taking heat on the trade, then the idea would be to evaluate your trade and get out of it. And not worry about the fact that the option's taking heat, because really the whole position's taking heat. Is that
right.
Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's what I was assuming that the question was, you know, what if the trade is taking heat? Yeah.
And let me ask you this, because it would seem to me, based upon looking at this risk graph, that I have a $2 cushion between 17 and 19 to make that decision.
That's right.
Okay, so that's another interesting aspect here, is that if there is some bad news coming out or the chart's breaking down, I mean, granted, something awful can happen and it could drop $5. I guess that can happen. But, you know, whether you own or sold the call or you didn't sell the call, you're still going to be in trouble. But in this case, if it's just drifting away, you thought it was going higher, but it's drifting away, you've got a $2 window to finally decide to get out of the trade altogether.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, this is a great tool. Here's another way you could use it. If you bought the stock at 19 and all of a sudden it goes up to 22, but it looks to you like it's going to roll over and you don't have any short calls on the position, you could sell the $22 call in anticipation of the stock rolling over, keep the money from the call, and then if the stock does go back down to 19, you still get to keep the money that you got for the call. Does that make sense? No.
I was typing something while you said that. I'm sure for the viewers it made a lot of sense. I'm so sorry.
You know, there are a lot of things that you can do with covered calls, but that was just one more example of the way that you can use the call as a tool to trade around an existing stock position.
Listen to her with the tools of the trade reference. Such a nice team player. Appreciate it.
Doing my best.
All right, Dyla, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
And we did have another viewer that wanted to call in, said he just had a few moments, so I'll leave the lines open for you to do that and give another comment about covered call strategy. And we do our best here, right? DayTradingRadio.com. Try to help out one another and give some on-air advice. In fact, in a sense, this after-hours show, for at least part of it, I like it to be something where you guys can ask questions like this, and I'll do my best to research the answer for you. And if I can't answer it, maybe we have another member who will be able to answer it for you, and try to keep it fluid that way. So I don't know if that caller is calling in. I won't put them on the spot, but if they don't, they don't. That's pretty good. Oh, there they are. Pop it on the screen. There we go. Well, hello, Dr. Gass. Good to hear from you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sure.
Let me turn something down here.
No problem. So I got a private message from Gass saying he had a thought or two on, I guess you were saying, a position that you had open.
Yeah, I was hoping to have Dial It back on. Maybe we can get her to come back in.
Okay.
Can you conference?
I can if she calls in, sure.
Okay, well, hey, let me just tell you real quick, because I got to run, but I got in, I was trying to play the Wells Fargo bounce.
Okay.
And I ended up, I bought a little higher, and then I ended up adding a couple hundred. So I ended up with 300 shares with an average of, where am I here? I got 35, basically 13, right? So I was able to sell some covered calls for the 35 for a pretty nice premium. I ended up selling with two levels, but basically I got about $32.50 per contract.
Okay. Yep, she's on now. Hi, Dyla.
Hello.
Hey, so hi, Dyla. What I wanted to make the point is that instead of selling 3 contracts and tying up any strategy I might have to sell any of the common, I sold 2, which meant, and they're January, so they expire Friday.
Okay.
So I was able to collect, basically, what is that? 32 times $65 or so in premium, and that froze 200 of my 300 shares. But with the other 100 shares, the last 100, I can actually, if the stock was to pop, I at least could capture that profit. And I know I've now made some money on those 2 covered ones because it's more than what that. In other words, if I give them away at 35, I only lose 13 cents per 100, right? But I've now taken in over 32 cents
by selling the 100.
By leaving 100 shares free to sell, and if it popped on me, I still have the ability to capture some better profits. And I know that now with the 200 sold calls, I've at least locked in some small profit. And all I have to do is wait till Friday for that to transpire.
Okay. So you're talking about this as being an earnings play?
What happened was that the stock got hit pretty hard, so I was just trying to get a bounce out of it. But I failed to get it to work.
This was this recent report?
Yeah.
Okay. And it got hit hard, or your position got hit hard?
No, I wasn't in it until the news came out.
Okay.
It's only after the news came out that I go after it.
I see.
And then, ultimately I was just a few cents away from being break even. But the beauty of it is that I went to basically in the money calls, and I got a pretty good premium for it.
So why did you want Dyla on?
I wanted to comment on the fact that I left 100 shares free to react to the market.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
I mean, I didn't really think of it until Lear and I were talking about it just in a private chat. But actually, now that I've experienced this, if you will, it's the first time doing this for me. But once you sell enough covered call against your position, there's nothing you can do about it, right? You're locked in until expiry, right?
Right.
I mean, in essence, there's obviously situations that you might take a loss or a gain, whatever. But the point is that sometimes selling covered calls against part of your position still leaves you some ability. That was going to be my take-home point.
Yeah, that's great. If you have enough shares to let some run and sell the covered calls, yeah, that way if it does run off on you, you don't feel like you've shot yourself in the foot by limiting your gains.
Yeah, so I guess my point was selling, not 100% of what you can sell, but a portion of it actually turned out to be not a bad way to approach it.
Okay, and actually I can graphically show that on the screen, because if we just had the stock and our break even at $35.13, you could see the angle that this takes, so that, for example, a 10% move at $38.50 is going to get us $1,000, $1,009. whereas doing the covered call on 200, you notice the graph still gives you this infinity view, and out to 38.50, that 10% move, your profits are capped. You'd only be able to gain $440. So, you're losing about $560, it looks like. But that's better than having the 200, because at 38.50, it's only $104. That's all you would gain.
Yeah. So I guess my way of looking at it is I was able to lock in, not a big profit, but at least lock
something.
in a profit, and I had to wait a week for that to play out.
Mm-hmm.
And if the stock runs, I still can sell some for a profit, and if it tanks, I'm only left with 100 shares at whatever loss I'm looking at.
Right.
So it was a way to lower my exposure, and take a sort of a baby step in profit.
Well,
anyways, I liked it. It was something I think it was a good way to approach it. That's all.
Cool. It's another perspective, and I tell people all the time, there's no straight answer on how do you trade with options, because it makes it so creative about what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I have some larger IRA positions that if I was as sophisticated as I am now, I would have sold some covered calls, not taking the boatload, just because you still have the ability to profit, from a move.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that was my little 2 cents, and Dial, I don't know if you have any comments about going 100% with covered calls, or whether you're better off trading a little smaller. That's all.
It depends on, like Kumar said, it depends on how you feel about the stock. If you think there's if you have 200 shares and you're not really sure what it's going to do, but you think there's a possibility that a news event is going to cause it to go up 20%, then yeah, it makes sense to leave some of those, loosey-goosey out there and take the small gain, the more certain, or the higher probability gain on the call. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically what I did was, just to recap real quick, is that, my first entry level was too high. So, ultimately the sell-off was worse than I thought. So I ended up adding 200 more. So now I brought my cost basis well down, but I still wasn't able to get out.
Excuse me, boss.
Whoa.
You have a text message.
Anyways, this way I lock in at least, I've saved at least 2/3 of my position from taking any kind of a beating. And I kind of like this. I kind of like how it's working out, and it's new, first for me, and basically I wanted to throw it out there to give people the concept that you don't necessarily have to tie up your entire position with covered calls.
Yeah, there's nothing in trading that's an all or nothing. That reminds me again of commissions. If you have high commissions, then you tend to think about things, I think, in a little more of an all or nothing way, because if your commissions are $1 to buy or sell 100 shares of stock versus $10 to buy or sell, are you more likely to scale in and out of things, or not? Sometimes it does make sense to do things partial. I see Docklands all the time, taking partials in the futures room. And it really makes sense to do it that way.
Yeah, great point. Well, anyways, I'm going to run. I appreciate the chance to at least throw that out there, just to give food for thought, if you will.
Yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
And Dial, thank you so much.
No problem. Nice to talk to you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Love to hear you guys on.
Okay. Take care, Dial. Stop calling me, will you, please? Somebody's going to start asking questions. No,
okay.
Just kidding.
I'll make
just kidding.
Call you next time.
All right.
Okay.
Adios.
All right. I probably shouldn't say that. Poor Dyla. I didn't mean it like that. I appreciate you calling in. So we're getting a couple of viewers here texting in. They see my number there on the screen. And I guess people just love sending random texts out there. But for the person that sent in the question about covered calls, I hope you got the answer you were looking for, or at least an answer that helps you getting closer to what you're looking for. Because I'm here for you. That's what it's all about here in the Briguy After Hours show. So I think we covered quite a bit. There's probably a lot more we can get into, but we're not going to drag this into an all-night show because otherwise I'd get nothing else done, right? So I'm just going to take the main ES chart. Let me figure out what screen I put that on, and we'll leave that on the screen for you. Let's see, where did you go here? There's the earnings reports. Pardon me. Oh, incoming call. Hang on a second. Let's see if we got a viewer calling in now. Okay. If you do decide to call the number, just know that I don't have a way of tying you into the line. But you're welcome to call. It's a Google Voice number, so that means you have to state your name when you call. Otherwise, I don't know who you are. And to cut down on the riffraff, I'm not going to answer the phone. So there. So let's just recap a couple of these after-hour trades. We've got American Express trading down about 64 cents after hours. Intel trading, looks like it moved up after that conference call and then started to flatten out. Now trading down $1.14 from the close. Capital One Finance, a little bit more controlled. We had this scoop down into the call and then not much of a change after that. And that's pretty much a big hit. So there's Capital One trading down about $4.29. And AT&T also trading down about 60 cents, maybe 68 cents, or I'm sorry, 52 cents I should say, after hours. Let me find my ES chart. Let's see, nothing new there on KSWS. We'll close that down. And I'm trying to figure out what happened to, maybe this was it. I had the Wells Fargo open. And yeah, I think this is it because it says the time and sales on the side. So we'll just back this up. ES market, the new session is now open and currently trading down 75 cents on the day. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Don't like trading the futures without doing a little bit more analysis, but it does look like our stochastics are pointing upwards, and I'm going to leave that on the screen. The volume profile, although you can't see the numbers. Let me see if I can zoom out enough for you to see the numbers. That should do it. Okay. And that's about it. If you guys have any songs you'd like me to play, I'll be happy to throw a few of them in the queue and generate a little random radio based on that. In the meantime, I'm going to shut down the video and just reset it before we close things down. I got a couple more texts came in. Let me just see if there were questions or comments. I wrote back to a couple folks. All right, Tommy, you got it. And my phone is uncooperating here. So ES down 75. Let me see what gold's doing. Not that whatever it's doing now is going to mean a whole lot for tomorrow morning, but maybe I'll leave this on the screen for you guys. And gold trading down $4.30 right now. My Google Voice app is not cooperating, so we'll go into regular text. And looks like our viewer did get their question answered, so I'm glad to hear that. And okay, so we got a member checking in. who is perhaps benefit from some kind of I believe a TTL arrangement. So what I will do is reach out to you separately. I don't know if you have an auto translator for what's being broadcast, but I will reach out to you and we'll see what we can do for you there. Definitely do have some visual aspects to the show that could help you out, and I'll talk to you about that somehow via text after we shut this down. So thanks for tuning in, guys. This is the third show of the Briguy After Hours show, and hopefully be something you guys will find of interest in the future. I'm going to try to do at least 2 shows a week. Probably at this point we're looking at Tuesdays and Thursdays at about 4:15 at when the pit closes, and let that run for a couple hours and see how it goes for a while. Next week, Wednesday, I believe Joel is going to be returning with the Option School, so we'll look forward to that, and maybe have some guests on that show. And of course, next week Monday is a holiday, so there won't be any markets trading on Monday. The futures has a little altered schedule. I think they close at about 11:30 Eastern Time Monday morning, and then reopen at 6 p.m. Eastern. So we can follow up with that tomorrow with John, and Athens perhaps will cover that on his show on Sunday night. So lots of things going on here, lots of shows going on. We thank you guys for your membership and checking us out. Be sure to check out the member forum. Learjet just posted something in there. I wasn't sure if that was a new posting or he was updating something, but be sure to check that out and post any comments in the room, watch some past videos, learn something, share your thoughts, comments, your hate mail, your love letters, whatever it is. We appreciate all the feedback, and thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. I'll get this reset and we'll play some Who for Tommy, and if you guys have any other ideas, we'll play that too. So good talking to you.